Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to GDSC Skills Up series. I think it's been a while since our last sessions. Welcome back. I also heard that some of the university also just recently completing on having an exam. So hope you have a great exam. And yeah, let's get started. Today we will learn about getting to know the role about data scientists. We will have Hailey or Hui Wen Chong from Money Lion that will be sharing about her roles on data scientists. So, as you know, my name is Febria. I'm a technical project manager for Google Developer Southeast Asia team. Happy to host you today. But before we start, I would like to getting to know some of you first. Probably you can put some chat on the comment based on some of the questions that I asked. I would like to know like where are you coming from? Right now, I'm joining the call from Indonesia. I'm specifically currently in Bali, so I would like to know like where are you coming from today? Can you put that on the chat so we know like where are you coming from? I'll give you like 1 or 2 minutes just to type. Bandung, okay. Chennai, okay. Indonesia and India. Any other countries? India, okay. Jakarta, okay. Any other countries? Malang, okay. Indonesia, your heart, okay. From my heart. Any other countries? Indonesia. Oh, Vietnam. Oh, there are another planet also joining here from Bekasi. Indonesia, Malaysia, KL. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next questions. I would like to know like what's something new or interesting that you recently learned. Probably you can share on the chat as well. I recently learned about Korean language. It's quite hard, but it's fun. Like a round shape of letters, something like that. So I was hoping that I can watching my Korean drama without subtitles. That's why I learning Korean language. So would like to know what the interesting things that you recently learned. Probably you can type on the chat as well. Let me give you like 1 or 2 minutes to just type. Oh, Gokula Chris Han. I hope I pronounce your name correctly. Just recently learning French. Bonjour. I hope it's correct. Any others? Anyone learning new things recently? Bonjour. Oh, okay, Gokul. Nice to meet you, Gokul. Oh, Taufan recently learning Swift language. Oh, so you are hoping to create an iOS apps? Noor just recently learning Hugging Face ML version of GitHub. And then Husni just recently creating VPN tunnel in GCP. Uh, Rama just recently learned NumPy. Givari just recently learned about fraud. Interesting topic. Okay, let's move on to the next questions. Oh, there's no more questions. So let's move on to the topic. So yeah, thank you so much for joining today's sessions on this weekend. This is I think this is our fourth uh, sessions of the GDSC Skills Up Talk series. So we are hoping to give students chance to learn from the industry expert about career in tech and level up yourself as a student, and then the future professionals. So yeah, we are hoping that you will enjoy the sessions today. And we also will have some upcoming sessions as well. Tomorrow we will have sessions about planning your tech careers with Pradana from engineering manager from Bukalapak. So if you want to join, I think you already got the invitations on Google Calendars about the sessions. If not, feel free to register on the link here. And on Tuesday, we also have another sessions. We're talking about from students and to professionals. We will discussing tips and tricks how to become a young professionals. This is will be the sharing will be coming from Lee team, senior software engineer at News WAF. So if you're interested to join, feel free to register yourselves as well. And we also have some special sessions coming up. I think it will be happen in the next 2 weeks. It's a mock-up interview sessions with Googlers. I will share more details in the email. So stay tuned. So yeah, I also want to thank you, Google Developer Space, for letting us using the YouTube channel for this series. So if you're interested to know more about Google programs, especially for developers and startup, feel free to follow our social channel here. You can just scan the QR code, so it's easier for you like to just follow us. Okay, so back to the main topic today. We are here to getting to know the roles about data scientists. Today, we will learn this from Chong or Hailey. She is a data scientist from Money Lion. She also a Women Developer Academy graduates 2022. Without further ado, I think I will call Huyen to the stage so she can introduce herself better. Hi, Huyen.
Hello, Fabian. Hello, everyone. Very, very happy to see you all today. I mean, it's a beautiful Saturday, and here we are, trying to learn new things and see what our future takes us, right? Okay,
Yes.
so yeah, so
I think
perhaps,
without further ado, I will hand over the stage to you.
yeah,
So yeah, okay. Let me pull your slides as well, and then
yeah, that looks good. Can you see it? Can everyone see it? Hello. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Thank you so much, Fabria. It's really really a great opportunity to be here today. Not just me sharing, but I'm also looking forward to learn from all of you here. So yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I'm very very proud to be here. So if you all can see my screen nicely, so yes, today we'll be hoping to learn more about our role here, which is a data scientist. And thank you for GDSC for having this series. And it's something that I hope I had when I was a student. Okay, so the talk today will be about data scientists and about my journey. And well, not surprisingly, I'm a data scientist and I'm at Money Lion. Okay, so before we get started, I'd just like to, welcome everyone to just go to slido.com. So this is where I hope that we can have more engagement. I'll be having some polls and activities with all of you. So if you can just hop on to slido.com, it's on the screen. Or you can scan the QR code. So at the page, you can just key in 1308011. Can you all see it? Yeah, just yay. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Fariden. So right, let's move forward. And if possible, please just remain on that Slido page so that we can react faster over there. So just more a bit about myself. Again, I'm a data scientist at Money Lion. I'm and then I graduated with a biology degree and master's from the University of Manchester. So at Money Lion, we are a US fintech company where we are very excited to build like super financial products to help improve people's lives. And we leverage a lot of great technology, data, and also product design to make that happen. So where I am right now is in fintech, but previously I was also in media, commerce, and healthcare. So I've dabbled a lot in different industries to learn, where my interest is. So it's okay if you don't really know what you want to do for now, but you see, I've been through at many different places. So some of my work revolve around predictive modeling, natural language processing, and recommendation engine. And outside of work, I'm really interested in how might we develop student communities. So I've been a mentor, judge, and also a speaker at student events like this. Aside, like what Febrea has kindly introduced, that I'm also a graduate of Google Women Developer Academy this year, and last year Oxford Machine Learning Summer School, where I've learned a lot about AI and ML. So over at the bottom there, that's my LinkedIn QR code. So feel free, to just scan, and then we can connect and speak more over there. Okay, so about the session today, just like to walk everyone through what we'll be talking more about today. So today we'll be talking about my journey from from university and how I eventually got into data science. Secondly, just like to give you a bit more light, what exactly is data science. Thirdly, a day in my life. So what do I usually do as a data scientist? And fourth, if after listening to all of this and you're interested to go into data science, what should you do and how can you hack the hiring process? And finally, I'd like to share just a little bit more about what I wish I knew when I first started. Okay, and on the side, I think it'd be great if you have any questions, feel free to pop in your comment. Where, and we'll look into the questions and I'll see where we can share more about that. Okay, so a bit more about myself. So many people, when you read that I'm from biology, and what actually got me here today as a data scientist. So this is my journey. Okay, I started off, as a huge animal lover. I love all things about animals, and I wanted to, explore more about that. So during university, I took a lot of animal courses, and at the time I thought, okay, what is a biologist if I don't wear a lab coat? So with that, I went into, synthetic biology, where I finally got to wear my lab coat and studying about bacteria, about editing bacteria genes. But I noticed that perhaps there are other things for me out there, and I wanted to explore more. So that was how I got into neuroscience. Okay, so a study about brain. So at where you can see here, I've been working on like brain slices, and hoping to understand more about how humans learn. And that was how I got in touch with AI, with the concept of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Okay, on how it took the inspiration from how we humans learn and taking that learning to a machine and look at how machine learns. So that was how I first got introduced to AI, and I was very fascinated by it. So towards the end of my university, I still wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. But at the time, there was this hackathon by Accenture UK. So in this hackathon, a bunch of us who barely knew how to code, we came up with a great idea of an AI-driven mentoring platform. And that was where I first saw how technology and data and a great product can actually be so powerful, right? And it's just by a bunch of incredible humans hoping to make the world a better place. So knowing about tech, and that was where I aspire to go to. And also I noticed that as much as I've loved science as a biologist, I've also loved the aspect of storytelling. So I like to talk, and I like to understand what people really need. So that was how I got into my first job. Okay, so yeah, I don't breed dragons, but my first job is actually in the media company. So it's the largest media company in Malaysia. It's called Astro. So at Astro, I had a great time learning about different businesses like from strategy, finance, commerce, and I've I've had the opportunity to look into different type of data analytics. Okay, so like in terms of data analytics, we had like web analytics, social media analytics from Facebook, YouTube. So around the same time, it got me wondering what are the options that I have in data. And I started taking on some online courses, and that was how I started my data science journey. So I explored my options, um, and the opportunity came for me to be a data scientist in Astro. So after some time in Astro, and it was also about the time when COVID came, and it got me wondering if I could use my skill sets and help to improve people's financial life. Because as all of us know, money is really important, not just for ourselves but also for our family, and that was what brought me to Money Lion today as a data scientist. Okay, so I hope you've been following my grandma story. But in short, just like to share that it's a series of exploration. And despite what people see on LinkedIn, that I'm a biologist turned data scientist, in reality, is is a whole roller coaster ride of going ups and downs. Like I can go from feeling very ready, to take on the world, and up till crashing, seeking for help, not sure what I'm going to do, a lot of drama, and then COVID happened. Yeah, so I hope you can draw some inspiration here that no matter what you study, um, you are able to get where you are meant to be if you put the time and effort into it. Okay, so a lot. I think that's about it about my journey, and I like to share more about data science because I think you've been hearing about it a lot. Um, Before you know whether this is a thing for you, let's just have a look at data science. So, what exactly is data science? Firstly, there's a lot of saying about data is the new gold, but what exactly are we referring to this? It's like there's a lot of potential into what we can do with data. And because of how data scientist is a role related to data, Harvard has also termed this as the sexiest job of the 21st century by Harvard Business Review in 2012. So what is data? Like seriously, people have been talking about it. So before we go into the more serious technical part, I'd just like you to look at this image here and try to just think about. Sorry, I think. Uh-oh. I think something has changed with the Slido, but it's okay. Let's just look at this image here, and just I think let's just use the comment section and just type out what do you think. What are the words that pop up in your mind when you first see this image? Um, Not Lego, not brick, but what are the words that come to your mind when you see this? So I'll give a minute or two. Oh, messy. Right. Uh, anyone else? Unstructured. Okay, I like that. Building blocks. So again, what are the words that pop up to your mind when you see this image? Pieces, disorganized. Nur Fajar said colorful. Sizes, pieces. Okay, thank you so much, for scattered. Okay, this is a very good one. So this is what we see, okay, that it's a messy, structured, unstructured things. But have you thought about that it could be this, like a really beautiful table, made up of this colorful, unstructured pieces lying around just now. And if you saw this, it can be a key holder, and it can also be a tissue box. And these all stem from the messy, unstructured things just now. And back to our very initial question about what is data. So data is all of the unstructured, messy things that we saw just now. It's basically everywhere that we created, as part of our daily lives, whether you like it or not. So you can go to the supermarket, you buy things, you are generating transaction data. When you're on your smartwatch, going on a run, you are generating health data. So data is basically fragments and pieces that you generate as part of your daily activities. And they are not very helpful until you start to sort them, okay, and you start to arrange them properly. And then when you present them visually, you start to see that, oh, perhaps there's a trend, whether you've been spending too much on coffee recently. And then when with that piece of data, you can then act on it, okay, whether you would like to, decrease your consumption of coffee, or you can use that data to make it into something more useful, as we can see here. So this is how a data science um, area actually comes in. Like with all of this floating data lying around, if we are able to use them properly, okay, and we can actually solve very good problems with all the data that we have. And data science essentially is using data to solve problems. But the science part is where we are experimenting on different ways of using the data. Okay, some of the real life examples that we can see here are like, for example, in YouTube, what are the music or the videos that you would like to see but you have yet to see. So this is where the YouTube recommendation engine can show you things that you can potentially like. And secondly, like for example in Google Map, there could be route optimization, where you don't want to spend 3 hours to get a place when you can reach in 15 minutes. Okay, and finally, it could be like in gaming, where you would like to have a lot more fun with the limited amount of time that you have, or how might we have a more immersive experience within that environment. Okay, so essentially, data science is a lot more. Okay, so that there's this conversation about, is data science, is it really just about building models, and you just use machine learning at whatever that you do? So what are your thoughts here? Do you think that data science is all about building models with machine learning? And well, and the truth is, this is unfortunately what many people think about data science. That is just machine learning, that you throw a lot of data in and then you just stir it until you find an answer. And then if you don't find the answer, you just continue stirring it, okay, until you finally get it. But data science is more than that. Okay, just get into a little bit more technical here. That data science essentially is at the intersection of these three main pillars. Okay, where we have a problem that we would like to solve, and how are we going to solve it? We use maths, statistics, and with computer science, we make this learning possible. And there are a lot of things that is happening among these intersections, where because we're using maths and stats, and with computer science, machine learning is possible. Okay, with maths and statistics, we're trying to solve a problem. Data analytics is also what we do as a data scientist. And because it involves like computer science with like systems and processes, software development, or like pipelines are also involved. So essentially, we are many things, and we are not just about machine learning. So I'd just like to walk you through a little bit more about data science. So to recap, that data science is trying to solve business problems or like real world problems with data. So the workflow here, I'd just like to show you how a project would actually look like, and it's an iterative process. So what does that mean? It means that you can go back and forth because, like in science, there are things that you don't know, you find out, and then you fine tune your approach to it, and then you may see new challenges and you go back and forth. Okay, so it's an iterative process. So just like to break it down into three big parts. The first part would be understanding the problems. Second part would be on the data. How do you prepare the data? And finally, on the modeling bit. And yeah, so on the very beginning, we always start with a problem that we are hoping to solve. Okay, for example, like the case of the recommendation engine just now, that users would like to, get more content, but they may have spent a lot of time looking for the things that they want, but they can't. So the analytic approach that we can think about is to how might we use data to help people discover what they like. Okay, and upon understanding that, we will look into what are the data needed to answer the questions here. So we will start to scope for the data that we need. We collect them, we try to understand them, and we prepare them. Okay, so this is like, in a kitchen, you're trying to get all your veggie and your proteins together and processing it. And during this process, it's a lot of like understanding. And when you have the data, this is where we can look into modeling, meaning whether using machine learning models or statistical models to actually process the data that we have. And with the models, we can then send it into the deployment, and we can see the feedback of the models and see whether, if we can fine tune the performance better to eventually help people find the content that they love in a shorter time. Okay, so this is more on the technical part, but what do we really do in a daily life? And it's really depending on the project that we have at hand. Okay, but this is quite typical that I start my day on around 9 to 10. We practice a flexible work schedule. And when I start work, I would usually start with monitoring what are the things that I've been doing so far. So it could be the model or the pipeline health, that data pipeline, like whether it has been performing or as expected. I could also be catching up with the work that I've done, or my US colleagues, like they've been working when I was sleeping. So I just like to see what they've been up to. And around 11 to 12, I would join my team for a daily stand-up session where we can have our internal and cross-team alignment about what are the projects that we're up to, the progress, and the roadblockers. So it's very important to know whether things have changed, whether our front-end engineers are, are getting what we are hoping to achieve, and for the back end, are we getting the data in the right way, for example. So just before lunch, I would then, have some personal time to actually sit down and think about the experiments that we would like to plan. And I will also start with some documentation. So as mentioned, like data science, it's like a very sciencey project, right? It involves a lot of planning, and that's what I do before I eat and before I think about what to have for lunch. Okay, so I'll go for lunch at around 1-ish, and then I'll take some coffee, and then I'll kickstart my deep work mode. Okay, where I'll be preparing data and what I've shown earlier about the pipeline. So it's really dependent on the project, and that would determine how much time I spend on each. On the side, I would also be like sharing some of my learnings, or like learning from my colleagues. And finally, we sometimes also have the sprint planning once every 2 weeks, just to understand what we are up to in the upcoming development. And towards the final part of my workday, I will set off some time to review on my peers' work, like code review, and I will also allocate some time for self-learning, because how the field is changing so much, and we really need to keep up on that. And around 6-ish to 7, I would tune out from work. I'll go on a very good evening walk. just to settle down and also think about what are the things that I'd like to write on LinkedIn. So if after listening to all of this and you're still interested in data science as a data scientist, okay, just like to break this down into three steps, three stages that how might you look into applying for your first data scientist or data analyst role, for example. Firstly, we can start preparing what are the things that are needed for the role. We start hunting and we start applying. For the first part, during the preparation, as a data scientist, we focus a lot on both the hard skills and the soft skills. For the hard skills, we look into programming. SQL is very important, the fundamental of learning data about how data is being stored and how we query get the data from. And Python and R are some of the popular languages that we use for data wrangling. My personal go-to is Python for now, but I've heard great comments about R too. So apart from that, we also look into statistics because essentially we're dealing with like probabilities and also understanding if what are the assumptions or how might we understand the performance of the machine learnings. And thirdly, about ML, machine learning algorithms. So we are very blessed with open source libraries of machine learning toolkits. So while we do not need to know the exact code as to what line is doing what, it always helps to know firstly, what are the problems that we're trying to solve and what are the algorithms that can help us solve that. And to better understand, not just using a single liner and say that, hey, I can do machine learning. It's always good to understand the maths behind what really drove this algorithm. And finally, on cloud skills, I think it's a great skill to have, and it's definitely growing in demand. So on the soft skill side, it's very important for us to have business acumen or like product sense, for example. And what we refer here is what are the challenges that businesses are trying to solve, because essentially the role of a data scientist is to solve problems. Okay, so a common feedback that I've heard from the recruiters is that candidates can be very strong in hard skills. You're great at programming. However, the soft skills is a huge area that people are lacking. So how we can build up our business acumen in data science, we can actually look into technical blocks by major tech companies, look at what are the problems that they're trying to solve and how they are solving it with what algorithms, for example. So on communication, so if you saw the flow just now, that in our work we depend a lot on different teams to make things happen, like the engineers, data analysts, data engineers. So it takes a lot of communication skills to understand what each other is looking for, and then we can have a better problem solving process together. And creativity is also very needed in the role because we are tackling a problem that no one has the answer to. So we have to be very creative in our approach to solve the problem. So, just like to ask everyone here, do you think that having many online certifications or a master's or PhD will increase your chance of getting a job in data? Just pop your answer in the comments. Do you think that having many online certifications or masters will increase your chance of getting a job in data? Yes or no? Is it down here? Okay, Daofan said yes. And do you think that having many online certifications or master's, PhD will increase your chance of getting a job in data? Okay, so a lot of you have said yes. And here's my take, that I think that having a portfolio is more important than mindlessly taking many online certifications, master's or PhD. Okay, I think that online certifications has its value. Okay, and masters and PhD, it helps you learn and I've personally benefited a lot from online certifications, but at one point, we need to know why we're taking those certifications. Because essentially, in a hiring process, what people are looking for is your ability to solve problems, not just your ability to learn. Okay, so some of the thoughts that I've gathered from my recruiter friends is that always to think about how might you transfer your learning from the online certifications and taking that skills to actually build something or to solve a problem. And what that also involves is to think about where to get your data from. Okay, so on the second phase, okay, you've looked into your hard skills and soft skills. You feel like I'm ready. So this is when you start to research on your options available, and you measure your research outcome on what are the jobs that are suitable for you. So what exactly are you looking for in the role, and what are the things that the business is looking for, and how do you two eventually meet? Okay, so after the research, you can measure what are the skill sets that that are really in line, and learn about what are the skill sets that you do not have. So for example, like what we talked about here is just a very simple list of what you would need to prepare, but in real life the companies may have different things, and after learning what they need from you, you take that learning and then you repeat the process, okay, if you have a dream job to achieve. So in short, is you research, you measure, you learn, and you repeat. Okay, so now you've gotten your list of the roles that are suitable for you, and this is where the longer journey is, where it feels like there's a lot here that when you start to apply, there are a lot of things that you need to go through. So it can involve like CV screen, a phone interview, technical assessment, and interview. Okay, so to just break it down, in CV screening, what the recruiters are looking for is firstly a tailored CV, um, where you are really taking what you have learned in this phase, the skill sets, the company values, what the job is looking for, and you use the keywords that are in your research and tailor it in your CV. Okay, the goal here is to convince that company that you have all the skill sets that you need. And more than often not, you already have them. It's just that people tend to just have a single CV and you just send it to everyone. So I think, especially with the job market being competitive, I think it would be very helpful for you to tailor your CV. Cover letter can be optional. So in phone interview, they would usually assess for your cultural fit and technical. And for technical assessment, we can have multiple choice. We can have coding, which is live coding or like timed coding. We can also have whiteboarding session and also a take-home assessment. In the final interviews, there can be a presentation about your assessment or a case study about the product that they are working on. And the fifth question would be like how suitable you are to the team and the company. So I'll just move to the final bit where I hope there are some things that I knew when I started applying for the job. The first tip would be helpful for your portfolio technical assessment and also interview is the why, how, what framework, where it's always good to think about why you're doing a certain project or why a technical assessment, why is that even a problem coming from the company. And then understanding what is the problem, you think about how to achieve the goal that you're hoping to start off, and finally what you can do to achieve. So if you can recall, we have actually gone through this process at the very beginning with the YouTube use case, where why is people not finding the content that they love an important problem. Okay, because in you're not so instantly the users are not happy because they can't find the things that they want, and this is not good for YouTube because we would like to serve the things that people would enjoy spending time on. So how might we achieve that goal of helping people find the content that they love, um, is by looking into certain type of data, and eventually what they can come up with iterations of a recommendation engine um, to serve that cohort of users, for example. And how does this translate to yourself? You can think about why is a certain project important to you, and how might you, for example, reduce your coffee consumption, and what are the data that you need to measure how much coffee that you've taken, and how might you predict for yourself that or optimize the coffee amount that you spend on a monthly basis. Finally, the tips is to always quantify what you achieved, but not what you did. Okay, so this is a framework that is recommended by Google also. That we should always think about the goal. Okay, we start with the goal in mind, that we have accomplished X as measured by Y by doing Z. So, for example, we can reduce our coffee consumption by 10% by using an algorithm. And this was the outcome of your machine learning project or a data science project. Okay, so always try to quantify where you can in a CV and interview, because this essentially is what a data professional would also deal with in a day-to-day, that we deal with numbers, and we have a very goal-based structured thinking. So yeah, I've shared so some of the things that I really hope I knew, and what the journey that I've come to so far. So in summary, there is no fixed linear path to do data analytics or data science. And what data science really is to just solve problems with data, and the data insights can come from scientific methods, processes, and algorithms. So I hope you find that my life is fun. And I certainly enjoy a lot of the discovery about not knowing what I want, and not knowing how we can solve the business problem, and until we come up with a solution. And on this point, we have also learned about what are the hard and soft skills that we need for the role. And also, finally, I've shared some tips that I wish I knew when I started job hunting, which is the why, how, what framework, and also the XYZ on quantifying your impact. Yep. So, yeah. So this is what I'm looking to share with you all today. So, Fabria or the rest, if you have any questions, just pop your questions in the comments below. I hope you've been able to follow so far.
Yay! Thank you so much for sharing, Huyen. There are one questions from Alvin. Let me pop up on the screen. Questions about CV. What if we don't have any achievement at all while we were in that experience? What should we write on the CV?
Yeah. So I'd like to share this in two parts. Okay, about the not having achievement at all, and how might you find things that are relevant. Okay. Firstly, you can try to look into your university. It's not just about joining as an internship of a data science internship. You can look for opportunities in your university and all of the projects that you've done before. So one thing I really like to remind everyone is that data science or data analytics can be done in many things. Like if you're doing Excel, you're already doing data analytics. Okay, if you're managing a project, a team work, that is already project management. And if you're already able to shorten your work time by automating a file using Python script or Excel VBA, you are already optimizing things. And these are the skill sets that we're looking for. So firstly, look for opportunities already in your university. And secondly, is the portfolio that I was talking about. At your personal time, you can try to look for the problems that really hit you, or a favorite app that you're using, and try to think about how might we solve the app rating problem by company X. Okay, and that is where you can look into getting the data. You can do API, you can do web scraping, and with that data, you can build models. So look inside and look outside about what you can do, and it's not just about internship.
Okay. Next question from Lim. Miss Huan, may I ask how would you recommend us to prepare a data scientist portfolio?
Hmm. Yeah, so like what I was saying just now, the best part about portfolio is you get to design, okay, what you want to show. So during this design, it's very important to firstly pick an area that you are interested in, because if you're not interested in, you can't finish the project. Okay. And
Agree.
secondly, yeah, and secondly, you can think about what are the problems that you have. Is it also a problem that a company is having? Okay.
Mm,
Um, and in that case, you are actually showing that you are able to solve real business problem if you decide to take me in. Okay.
mm.
So some of the people, when they look into portfolio, they would go for a very clean, structured data, and they just start building models. But in my opinion, the best part is to always think about your story and try to think about what data you need to solve that problem. Okay, and that's more on the goal-based way of designing. The second way of designing it could be the skill-based designing. Okay, so for example, there's this new algorithm or a new area that you like to look into. Then you can try to think about, okay, what are the use cases possible with this technology? Then you design your project based on that. But my personal go-to is the first one, because I find that if you're able to tell a story, you're passionate about it, the interviewers will be impressed by it and they will remember you as a person.
Okay, good tips.
Hmm.
Next questions. What are the typical projects can you usually do as a newcomer that say has finished TensorFlow's online certification to build up a portfolio? I think you
Hmm.
already suggest in the previous one, right?
Yeah, I think just to briefly touch, so I think the TensorFlow online certification is a very extensive and very well-rounded program, and and there are already use cases within that program itself. So you can also brainstorm about, okay, so they have showed use case A, what are the other related use case B, so that you can complement them together. And in an interview, you can share that you have gone beyond what they teach, and you're able to develop a more comprehensive solution that this TensorFlow can actually drive. I
Okay,
hope that
hope it
helps.
answer your questions, Lohong. Next questions. Can you share your favorite learning resource to learn data science?
So I started off with the Google Analytics certificates, because as what we have seen just now, it takes a lot of exploration before we get to the modeling part. Okay, the data science essentially is a test and explore, test and explore. So during this exploration, data analytics to me is the very first step to understand the data that we have. So for totally new beginners, I would recommend looking into the Google Analytics, okay, and getting familiar with the web analytics. And then what I looked into as a newbie who don't know how to code, I started off with the IBM Professional Data Science certificate at Coursera. And
Mhm.
it prepares like learning Python and also incorporating the data science knowledge. But there are a lot of different options available. There's one by yeah, so there are actually many available out there. Okay, a tip here on selecting the best or the most suitable certificate for you is to first look at the curriculum. Don't just go after the names. Um, Look into the curriculum, what you're going to learn. And secondly, look for reviews. So I've spent a lot of time trying to review before I even start doing a certification. Yeah, and again, if cert doesn't matter, which I believe right now that the actual certificate is not, there are a lot of free resources on YouTube, and they are really good at what they explain. Yeah, Andrew Ng, he has a very good course also on machine learning, and it's there's a new refresh version released recently with deep learning I believe.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm a big fan. He's a very passionate teacher, and I would really recommend everyone to have a look and see if this is for you.
Okay. Thank you. Next one from Michael, Miss Huan. Can you tell us more about your first interview for the role? Any tips for the interview?
Yeah, so okay, I'm not going to lie, it was scary. Especially I had no, formally I wasn't formally trained in programming. So it was even scarier. um, but the tip is to be yourself, okay? And it comes with a lot of preparation on being the best of yourself. Okay, so I've shared the framework of why, how, what. Um, it drills down a lot on giving a very structured approach to letting people know who you are and what you can do. And
Hmm.
finally, you give numbers to back up that you have tried on this and that, and the outcome was this in percentage, for example. Yeah. Be genuine because you can't lie for a very long run. So, yeah, you can't. And then be structured in the story that you're going to tell.
Okay.
Oh yeah, one more. Sorry, one more thing to add. To many people, technical interviews are scary, including myself. One feedback that I've heard from the recruiters are to keep them engaged, which is the communication part. Many
Mm-hmm.
people, when given an assessment or a live coding interview, they just go straight into coding a lot of machine learning, cool stuff. But essentially, people want to understand what you're doing. Okay, so how it differentiates you as a candidate is to brush up a lot more on your communication and storytelling skills.
Yeah, I think thinking out loud when
Mm,
you are trying to build something, it's also important, right?
yes.
Especially for the technical interview. And
Yeah, and I think to building on what Fabria was saying, there was one time when I was really stuck at, I forgot that line of simple code because I was too nervous. And I even blurted out loud saying that, hey, I kind of missed this step and I would like to relook into further. Can I Google about it? And if he said no, I would say, okay, well, thank you, but would you be able to guide me? Because in real life, I would be able to search for this keyword and what are your thought process to getting the answer?
hmm.
Mm.
Okay.
And the recruiter actually said to me that, well, your technical skills may need some brush up, but because you did better at XYZ and I got the job anyway. So it's yeah.
Ooh.
So it was really scary, but like what Fabra said, walk them through of what you're thinking.
Yeah, I think it's complementing each other, the
Mm.
hard skill and the soft skill. Yeah. So don't be afraid. Just do your best on your technical interview. Okay. Okay. Next from Alvin Buana. Does having a small projects that are focusing on machine learning or deep learning algorithm could help us in getting acceptance in a company for a data science role?
Okay, I think my personal thought here is machine learning over deep learning. Okay, as a start, because essentially, firstly, you need to understand what differentiates between machine learning and deep learning and how applicable it is in the area that you're interested in. So, for example, if you don't know how to do the calculation of 2 plus 3, and now you're hoping to solve a maths question of 20 equations, which is like deep learning, okay? And that is not a very helpful way to learn or to showcase your skill set because we always focus on the fundamentals. Try to solve the easy problems first before you go into more advanced problems which needs advanced solutions, for example like deep learning. And the fun fact is sometimes In certain use cases, deep learning may not work as great as a simple analytics way of solving it. So we try not to complicate things, but always focus on the fundamentals.
I agree with that. And this is things that also mentioned by the previous speakers.
Hmm.
Like always learn about the fundamental first before you jump into another like framework.
Yeah. Because from a recruiter standpoint, because we know that deep learning requires a lot of data, like a lot of it, and a lot of resourcing power. But if the company itself is not looking for that sophisticated solution, and they don't have the resources to spend a long time on it, then obviously you're overworking it, and that shows that you're not creative or you understand the problem good enough to come up with a solution.
Agree.
Oh, great that I helped you, Alvin. Yeah, thanks, Iris. Yes, agree. Yeah, and the fun fact is sometimes we don't even need machine learning. So I had like a really good mentor, and he said the advanced people are not those who are expert in like deep learning everything. The advanced people are those who know what are the right solutions to use at the right time.
Mm, agree. Okay. Is there any more questions from the audience? If not, I have questions for you.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Because you are on already in the industry for quite some times now.
Hmm.
I would like to know from your side, what is your biggest challenge becoming a data scientist?
The biggest challenge, there are two things, there's external and internal. Externally would be, I think, to keep up with the pace of how fast AI, ML, data science, the industry in general is moving. So there are new things being released every day, and how might we keep up that learning while polishing what we already have. Okay, so that was my biggest challenge, and how I tackle it is firstly to break it into smaller parts. That I try to incorporate reading the latest advancement on a daily basis, so that it's tiny in bits. And what do I read? It could be related to my job, and it could be related to my personal interest. Like I'm interested in recommendation engine, for example. Then I could be reading just different materials about recommendation engine. Yeah. And then the second part about internally, the struggle is to constantly combat the idea that I wasn't technically trained, that sometimes I may take slightly more time to learn systems and more advanced programming. Um, so on that, it's not just about learning more, but about also being at peace with myself that I'm
Yeah,
doing the best that I can. Yeah.
yeah. You need to believe in yourself when that
Yeah.
you are ready.
Yeah. And sometimes I think even if people give you a lot of support and encouragement, it will never be enough, because it's a hole that you have to fill it in yourself. Yeah.
Yes, agree. Okay, my last questions then. What do you think makes a good data scientist?
What do I think makes a good data scientist? um, a good one would be one who is able to bridge the understanding between the technical and the non-technical people, because I personally see that there is a huge disjoint of the more technically able data scientists who are able to build great things,
Mm-hmm.
but they are not translated to the non-technical audience, and eventually they do not adopt that solution, and the project sort of didn't make it. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
And the end goal, everyone's end goal, is to solve the problems together.
Mm-hmm.
So a good one would be one who can not who just able to do beyond the technical stuff, but helping others understand the value of it.
Agree. Okay, I don't think we have any more questions from the chat box, and we are already running out of time. So thank you so much, Huan, for your
Thank you,
time. I know it's
Febra.
thank you so much for spending it with us. Hopefully you have a great time sharing with us. So thank you so much also for the audience who staying tuned in these sessions since the beginning. So tomorrow we will have another sessions with Pradana from Bukalapak. So please don't forget to join us and see you tomorrow. Have a great
Thank you,
weekend. Thank you,
everyone. Bye bye.
everyone.
Thank you, Febra. Thank you,
Thank
GDSC, for
you.
having me.
Bye bye.
Bye.